This is probably what pops into your head when I say green bean, but this is the green bean I grew up with, and I'm gonna show you 2 exciting ways to cook it that are not green bean casseroles, because green bean casseroles suck. So these are Romano beans. They're also known as Italian green beans. They're really long, flat, and they're sweeter than your average green bean. We're gonna make 2 delicious recipes using these Romano beans. One of them is a salad and one of them is a hearty soup. Before I moved to the US, my mother asked me, is there a dish you won't be able to find there that you want to have like one last time? And I answered, this soup. And she literally made it for me for 2 weeks straight, and I've had it every day until I was just green beaned out. But it's just so good, so simple, yet so special and flavorful. And I was just so excited to find these green beans in the US because now I get to share a little piece of my home with you. It starts with some olive oil in a pan or any type of oil you have. I'm gonna go in with the onion, and we're just gonna saute this for 2 to 3 minutes. Then we have a little tomato paste going in. Normally you would use a whole tomato. I just prefer tomato paste because it's much faster. You don't have to peel the tomato and cut it and do all the things. You wanna toast the tomato paste a little bit just to get rid of that acidity. Now we're gonna go in with some crushed garlic. We'll toast the garlic for a couple of minutes until it's nice and fragrant. Then we're gonna move on to the green beans. Snap them. You can't cut these. I know you can get them pre-cut and frozen and all the fun stuff, but if you're using raw fresh beans, you just have to snap them with your fingers. I don't make the rules. It's just like illegal to cut these beauties. It's relaxing, you know, you get a bean and then you just like zone out. So the beans are going in, giving them a couple of minutes in the pot just to soften them. Some salt. We're gonna go in with some pepper, a little bit of paprika, and a touch of cayenne. If you don't like cayenne pepper, you can totally skip it and add the water, red pepper, and a handful of parsley. The soup has been simmering for 20 minutes. I'm gonna go in with the heavy cream. Some people prefer sour cream. I just like this. It adds a lot of creaminess and body to the soup. I just prefer the sour cream on top of the soup. You do you. Pour in the heavy cream. Last but not least, some cornstarch. This will simply thicken our soup. We're gonna simmer this for about 5 more minutes until it's nice and thick, and then we're gonna taste it, add more salt if needed. Again, salt is the most important thing in a soup. Because we're working with so much water, you wanna flavor that water with something. In most cases, it has to be salt. So just an FYI. Next, so we're gonna make a really delicious salad, and because these are not your mushy, overcooked, canned green beans, we can use them in so many different ways. Right now, we're gonna char them and cover them in this miso, honey, sesame dressing. It's so good. It can be a side dish, it can be an appetizer, starter, whatever you want it to be. It's really good on its own. I'm just gonna say that. It's really good on its own, just like you are. We have our cast iron skillet smoking. I'm gonna go in with the green beans. I like to keep the length they come in. I know it might be easier to chop them for eating purposes, but there's just something about having a long bean. I'm gonna drizzle some olive oil or whatever oil on top of these. You don't wanna move them. What I'm actually gonna do is weigh them down and not move them whatsoever. This increases like the surface area the bean has to crisp up and char. You don't need one of these grill weights. You can use a pot, you can use a plate, you can use whatever you have. Just like weigh it down with whatever you can find. In the meantime, we're gonna focus on the dressing and toppings. First, we're gonna start with toasting our sesame seeds. They can burn really easily, so don't forget about those. Before the dressing, we're gonna start with grating 1 shallot in there. If you thought cutting onions or shallots or stuff like that will make you cry, grating them is like 10 times worse. In the beginning, you don't feel it coming, and then once you're almost done grating it, it just hits you. Like it just hit me right now. The reason I'm grating it and I'm not just like finally chopping it, it's because I don't want the texture in there. I just want the taste. You could blend this too. You could totally make this in a blender and not do this to yourself. If you don't have shallots, you could totally use garlic. Oh shoot! I told you these are gonna burn. Ow, that's hot too. Man! I told you you shouldn't forget about these. I just forgot about the sesame seeds. Now they're all burnt, so I'm gonna go in with a new batch. Maybe don't do anything in the meantime, just because these are very sensitive. So just place them on there and keep an eye on it. So I'm gonna get myself a little bowl and just dump them in here. Next up, lemon. Lemon zest, lemon juice. The lemon juice balances the shallot out. It cuts through all that punginess that the shallot has. Honey, white miso paste. Some pepper, salt, olive oil. You can add more lemon or olive oil to taste, but that is pretty much the texture. This is what you want to see when you flip them. Again, one more toss. Place them on the serving plate. See how they kept their bite? They're not like super mushy or soft or anything. I like to pour the dressing while they're hot, but you can let them marinate and you can serve these cold. They're really good cold. I almost prefer them cold, but they're really good either way, but they're really good cold too, so it's really up to you. We're gonna pour the dressing all over them. Sesame seeds, and thinly slice these lemon peels. So this is kind of what you wanna see. And last but not least, flaky salt. Bloop. Tell me that doesn't look real hot right now. Thank you for being here. Check out my recipes. They're both on my Substack newsletter. Like and subscribe to this channel and comment down below what you want to see next or what I could do better in the next video. You gotta try this.